Are you there?
Hi.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey there. Like my little setup?
It's nice. It's actually very nice. I may be a little bit drowsy,
It's
but I'm here and I'm ready to go. Excited.
yeah, well, I asking Kia about because when I did the workbook, it asked a whole different questions about your mini audience and your 1,000 true fans. So I copied some of the questions and whatnot. So I was like, oh, snap.
Okay.
Like based on your topics, your micro niche or whatever, narrowing it down and then asking questions like, what podcasts do they listen to or YouTube channels? Why do they listen to them or watch them? When and where do they listen? At work, in the car? What websites do they check regularly? And what are their influencers like?
Oh, okay.
So
Wow.
those are the things that were in the workbook when you do them. So I was like, oh shit, I've been doing it this way, but Kia told me you could do both. Like
Right.
enter, you could go ask these questions and then say, hey, well, this is what I'm doing, and what do you think about these topics? These questions. And then the how to or what if, using those at the beginning of the titles.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to input a lot of data in consideration of that. And I've got to be honest, I'm not fully prepared in answering all of those questions at the current moment. Um,
Hmm.
but
I'm just
I
giving you a heads up of how to go about doing your assignment.
yeah.
What
Yeah.
I've come to realize, and I'm like, oh, that sort of makes sense. I wish I knew this beforehand,
Right.
before I started the interviews. But she said you could do both, so
Oh,
that's
okay.
why. So, and then the audio on my end, I guess I wasn't connected to the Wi-Fi where I was at on the boat, and that made my audio a little sketchy. So,
Oh,
yeah, I was like,
that's okay. That's okay. Just repeating a session just means more time for practice, so that's always good.
yes, practice makes perfect.
Right.
So, if you're interested, because I talked to my guy, because he does the Clovercrest Media Group. That's where I upload my podcasts and whatnot. He could, and then you get StreamYard with it. So it's
Oh, nice.
very affordable, and I'm using it. It gave me a start.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's all we need is just a stepping ground to potentially launch the podcast and to get things going. So yeah, I appreciate you providing me those options. I'm at this point I'm wide open to anything. So let's do it.
I think it's don't quote me on it. It's like $15 a month.
That sounds about right. Yeah, my buddy
So,
uses it as well.
but I love it. It's so easy, and I'm learning a little bit more of the video broadcasting of it. He sets you up with intros, and he's got it pretty simplified on how to
Nice.
go out and upload my podcast and now this video stuff. So he's like, yeah, utilize it. So I asked him, can I refer people to you? And he's like, yes, please. So I'll send you his name and
Okay.
number and email address. And then you just say, Kimberly Chapman mentioned, referred me to you. So, and then he'll know.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm all for that. I'm
Okay,
definitely
I'll
all.
send it to you.
Thank you so much for that. That's great. I greatly appreciate that sincerely.
Well, you're welcome. Anything to help. We, teamwork makes the dream work.
That's the thing. Yes, indeed. Yes,
So
indeed.
here's what, and then you could like do feedback on it, I
Okay.
narrowed it down from 18 to 25, because in that age group, you really don't know, why am I here? What is my purpose? What is my passion? And with what's changing and evolving and whatnot, I feel like that age group is stuck more with everything that's been going on. So I narrowed it down to that 18 to 25, finding your purpose, why you're here, recognizing, many forms of abuse that they probably
Mhm.
experienced, that, they need help to be able to heal and move on, kind of things.
Right.
So what do you think about that?
I think that's a pivotal age of transition. You're going from young adulthood to full onset of responsibility into adulthood. It's going into the age of 25. Um, there are a lot of variables that can take its course between that age,
Mhm.
and I think it's a pretty good age group um, to consider when introducing new ideas, because they're much, they're malleable and more, receptive to breaking away from the traditional style of thought in which we, as older adults, tend to abide by. So I believe that that's a pretty good age group, in my opinion. Um,
Okay.
I definitely think you're in the right. You're kicking off your podcast in the right area in that form of consideration. 18 to 25. I think that's solid.
Mhm. Because now
Yeah.
they're going to technology, they're going to social media, they're going to, is, the pros and the cons of it. Some of them are, with the Facebook, TikTok, and whatnot, but they're also going for some kind of inspiration to get something,
Yeah.
that's going to help them, so I feel like that's where I'm going to go. And I've asked a few of the younger generations, so, what do you look for when it's like they're getting card readings, they're, dance moves, music and things like that. So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
It can be kind of difficult to get a narrow point in perspective because they're so receptive to multiple themes, and they are willing to try different avenues of exploration to identify themselves with a purpose
Mhm.
or a niche that they can relate
Mhm.
to. So yeah, that it can be a little broad, speaking to that audience. But if you find a recipe in which you can capture them and maintain consistency with their interests, then you're definitely on to something. But at that age, between 18 and 25, they're quite proficient and efficient with the use of social media, and they know exactly what they want to see. And so depending on the type of individual they are, they may want something of substance, and or they might want something that is very superficial, or something that is very short in discussion that they can consume for the day and move on. So yeah, I think looking into that age group, you have a variety of ways in which you can, kind of relate to them and kind of speak to them. And but once you find the recipe that works out for you, then you'll literally take off as a rocket, and your growth should be exponential in its nature. But I will say this: it will take time. Definitely will
Mhm.
take time to find that true niche that that will gravitate towards them. But once you find it, it's like finding treasure gold. At least
Mhm.
that's how. Yeah.
Well, I mean, even though I started my podcast back in October, I think it was October 15th when it launched and started airing on Monday mornings.
Right.
I'm already four shy of 300 downloads, and I'm in like 13 other countries. So it's
That's
like
it.
I'm doing something right, because I'm getting repeat, you know, listeners that are downloading each episode, and I got 25 episodes already up.
Now that is quite impressive, and that is actually encouraging for me, for someone who tends to be a little bit timid in pursuing that type of avenue. However, even though I'm aware that we're all capable of doing it, it's another thing to actually go out
Do it.
and put. Yeah, so that's something that I give you kudos in. The courage and the ambition to just throw it out there, and then
Hmm.
you're actually surprised by the results. So that's like I said, that is a statement of inspiration and encouragement for me. So I thank you for doing that.
Good.
Genuinely, yes.
Well, I'm just like, honestly, I was winging it, but I had all this content of ancient civilization, and the that's part of our limited beliefs and our mental programming and our emotional energetic traumas all the way from our origins, and that's what I'm enlightening. And I'm going through my research and sharing, even books that I'm reading. I'm like, can you fucking believe this? This is what they thought back then, I get very passionate, but I add humor to it. I share my own personal experiences. So it's like being that authentic and vulnerable to share and express all the emotions.
Yes. That's the beauty of podcasting. It should get to a point to where you feel as if you're just having a genuine conversation with the audience that are taking their precious time to listen to you, and you have something of substance that they can respond to, um, and also contemplate within themselves. So I mean that's where you want to be. You want to be at a natural state, at a comfortable state, to where you just feel like you're talking to your best friend, and your podcast
Hmm.
audience definitely will be that for you, especially as your channel of communication begin to grow and you begin to resonate with more people. Um, but I love the premise of your cast. It sounds exciting, and it sounds like there's opportunity for humor there, but also opportunity for evolution in thought,
Hmm.
and and giving ourselves an opportunity to introspectively evaluate ourselves and see exactly where we're going as as humanity, and how we can progress instead of digressing or regressing.
Regressing. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
just
what we
get
don't
people,
want.
my main purpose is just to get people to start thinking outside the box. Look
Yes,
at things
yes,
in a different and a new perspective and create a new concept. Like
correct.
I don't have to be right or wrong. It's just look at it this way, and then you get history and facts of, hey, this was here all along, and some of it did get destroyed, but look at this. You can't deny this. This actually happened. Now you can understand if you look at timelines of periods of war and religions and politics, even back then. Now you know how everything got created, and it's up to us to change it. We didn't like it the way they did it. They failed. So now we have an opportunity to change it, make it better. But you have to understand little pieces of history. And
Right.
it's been like forgotten or not, no one pays attention to it.
Well, that's because we've been trained and programmed
Hmm.
not to believe its worth, to consider how valuable our history is. And then, most importantly, we're discouraged from looking into the true nature of our history because it's compartmentalized into groups and different sects of thought and theory.
Hmm.
So if it doesn't say relate to your individualized tribe, then therefore you won't look into it. When we should be looking into all forms of history because we're all one people. The greatest lie that has been
Hmm.
told to us, system, the greatest lie that has been told to us is the belief that we're separate, and holding on to that belief is what
Hmm.
leads to these, cycles of destruction that we bear on each other, just because of our ego's belief that one is superior or inferior to the other. If we can get to that just one profound understanding that we all come from the same substance, that we're all of the same people, then we will be a little bit more open minded in receiving various forms of history and understanding the mistakes that has taken, you know, its course in the past, thereby giving us an opportunity to define a new future. But because we have so
Mhm.
much pride within ourselves and we hold on to that so stubbornly, as if that's the only thing that matters, we continuously go through these repetitive cycles of utter destruction. And it's needless, it's
Mhm.
ridiculous, and it is really, really unnecessary, and it's sad. But that's
Yeah,
just
it
who
is.
we it's just who we are, but we do not have to be that way. And I want to
No.
believe at this time and at this age, we will have the capacity to not repeat some of the mistakes that we've made in the past.
Yep. I totally agree with you, brother.
Yeah, keep
So how
keep hope
far are
alive,
you
right?
so how far have you gotten in your homework assignment?
um, I had a very busy week. As you can see, I'm still in my work uniform, so I've been spending a lot of time in the clinical area. So this weekend, I'm totally off, and I have 72 hours to dedicate myself into this uh, establishing this podcast idea and identifying my niche. However, it's been a consistent um, um, it's been a consistent form of thought with me, almost to the point of meditation, to where I can literally imagine the podcast coming into view, coming into
Mhm.
fruition, and hearing the conversations and speaking upon the topics and actually practicing with some of my coworkers at the job. And the response is all exciting. The thing that I notice about myself is that I do better without a script. It's like if I have a
Mhm.
script, I feel like as if I'm significantly limited and structured. I just have to let my mind be free to talk about,
Mhm.
you know, whatever topic we're presenting at the moment, and then it just flows like water.
Yeah.
But yeah, but this micro niche thing is just wow, one of the most challenging things that I've experienced in developing anything. And with Brian Rose being so specific, I have to genuinely appreciate that, because if you
Mhm.
can identify that little small speck, that's the seed that will plant the tree that will grow in time as a result of our consistency and our determination to remain with the course and identifying the true nature of our podcast. So hey, I'm willing to go through the pain so I can get that gain.
I know it makes you think like, well, it's for everybody, but you can't it and it helps you set yourself up for success by, like, yeah, it is for everybody. That's the bigger picture, but let's just, that little particle of let's start small and work our way up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're trying to turn a baseball into a photon.
Mhm.
You got this baseball that you want to throw out there and send it to the mound, and then you have Brian Rose telling you, well, we need to get that down to a photon before you can get that thing to go to a
Yeah.
baseball. Yeah, talk about micro niche. Gonna need a
Yeah.
microscope. Gonna need a microscope to find out what that niche is.
Oh my god.
uh,
But
but it's fun. It's
alrighty.
fun. All
Well,
right.
I don't want to take too much of your time, but I wanted you to see what you have available to you. And it's
Nice.
pretty cool. So, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
going on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to check it out and then I can convert it at the school, edit it if I want,
Oh,
add
that's
things
cool.
to it. You could share another site. Like you could do a presentation. Let me see if I could, you can put a presentation on here,
Right.
share it, you know. So it's really interesting.
Yeah. StreamYard is a very flexible and, let's say, very comfortable tool in
Mm-hmm.
podcasting, and I think this is most likely where I'll start, and just get my content out there, and then hopefully there will be no, not hopefully, I know there will be an audience that will be there to consume it, which will incentivize me to look for higher standards of giving out the podcast. But StreamYard is beautiful already. Like it's not I wouldn't consider this a low standard. This is a very good standard in having a podcast. And I've engaged with many podcasts in the past using this app or using this platform. and it's
Well,
excellent.
I got the hookup for you, and I didn't even know we had StreamYard. I've been doing the transistor part of it, of uploading my episodes, putting a picture up there so it goes with what my content's about. So you'll see
Right,
pictures, and I say, hey, I don't own this picture. I just found it, and I'm sharing it with you because it resonates with what I'm talking about.
right, correct. And um, in the past, because I used to be a member of the NBA Lives Veteran Committee when we talked about basketball gaming with this company from EA Sports, we used to do our podcast on Google Hangout. So we used to do that every weekend. Um, so the platform is irrelevant. It's just the consistency of the content that's being released, and then the increasing quality that you present through the manner of
Right.
conversation that is given, that will lead to growth in time. So yeah, it's all everything we do is always about consistency and not giving up.
Hmm.
100%.
In fact, I got to go to the school and record my episode for Monday morning.
Look at that. You're already on it. Yeah, you are on fire, Kimberly. I have to give it to you. It's
Thank
really good.
you.
Yeah, it is really good knowing you. And your podcast is definitely going to take flight. Anytime you want me as a guest, I am available. Um, and then
Okay.
I'll
I
talk about
You
this.
are when I'm going to record it and start launching um advertisements, promoting, hey, I'm broadcasting this summer, stay tuned. I already announced it. So now that I got
Nice.
this part, there's little other things that I want to do, for the beginning of the show, the closing of the show. It's up here. It's just I need someone to walk me through, how do I put this on first, then come in. So you'll be on my show. We're going to be talking about music.
That sounds good. That's my niche for sure. So I'm definitely take you down a very interesting road in consideration of music for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Well, I'm going to let you go. I know you're tired, but hey, if you need help with anything, let me know.
absolutely. I definitely will be seeking. Oh, look at that! That's awesome. I will definitely be seeking consultation for how to officially turn in this assignment for next week. So I will be bugging you
Okay.
a bit this weekend. Just be on the lookout for that.
Don't. Hey, I'm right here for you. I got your back.
I appreciate it. I got yours too.
Okay. I'll talk to you later.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.